Good evening, Gulf Coast independent wrestling fans. Welcome once again to another fantabulous edition of the Front Row Fanatics. I'm your host, the Gargoyle. I'm here with the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Fantasy, Heath Childs, promoter, booker of SWA, talented man extraordinaire. We're getting ready for the next Gulf Coast WrestleMania here at the Crestview National Guard Armory that's going to take place on Saturday, April 27th, 2013. Get your tickets, a show you don't want to miss. And now I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let the big man do the talking.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Gargoyle and I want to thank Front Row Fanatics for coming down and doing once again helping me promote the show and shooting the promo video here so everybody on the internet can see this. You know, I didn't dub this the WrestleMania of the Gulf Coast. Mr. Colby Godwin, I think he's the king of the Gulf Coast as he bills himself. Yep. He actually dubbed this WrestleMania of the Gulf Coast. I kind of like the idea, so I went with it. You know, like you said, at Saturday, April 27th at the National Guard Armory in Crestview, I think I have put together my best show so far. Just talent from top to bottom. You know, we say that every year, but after I went out and I did some talent scouting, and I found some guys that hadn't never been in the area before. Had some guys they had to cancel them, so I went out and got some more guys. But you know, I think match for match, this will go down as the best show that the Southern Wrestling Alliance has put on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the one thing that really excited me was, some of my boys from Central Florida are getting an opportunity to work on the SWA card. The one complaint that I had, and I'm lucky Mr. Fantasy didn't beat the crap out of me, was I'm like, hey dude, you need to bring in a little bit of fresh talent, to spice up the card a bit. Now he had two top quality guys in Vordell Walker and Kyle Matthews who, due to previous commitments, had to cancel. So he brought in some South Florida talent. He scouted, watched videos, came up with a few names, asked me what I thought. I liked them, gave him my honest opinion. And fortunately for the fans of the Gulf Coast and for myself, he took my opinion, among others I'm sure he discussed with, before booking these guys to be on this show. This show is going to be off the hook. You're going to see the talent from the Gulf Coast. You're going to see WWE names. You're going to see some guys from Central Florida who Pain Lord, Cheech, Mr. Internet, and Alexander Page and myself have been trying to promote, There's talent. You need to travel a little bit, man. I am so excited. I don't know what to say, man. I'm stoked for this show.
Like I said, I did do, I had Kyle Matthews and Vordell booked, and I was really stoked for both of those because Kyle Matthews might be pound for pound the best, middleweight, wrestler in the Southeast.
Absolutely.
And then Vordell's been on TNA, and Vordell's a great worker in himself, and they both took the booking, and then they both actually contacted me the same day. They had a situation where they had promised somebody else they would take a booking if it ever came around. Unfortunately, that somebody called them and told them the booking was the exact same day of my show in California.
Right.
So I can't blame them for taking the booking in California. It was a situation that could lead to bigger things for them.
Absolutely.
So I sat down and I started looking through some some YouTube videos and Googling who's the best high flyer in the Southeast, and who's the best grappler in the Southeast, and just kind of things like that, and come across three names. One being Perfect 10, Lindsay Dorado. This gentleman has been in Chikara. Chikara is probably the fourth largest organization in the country behind WWE, TNA, and ROH.
Right.
If you've never watched Chikara, you should YouTube that stuff. It's very, very entertaining. One, Mr. Dan Delicious, who is on the show, I've spoken with him briefly, and he is super excited about this guy coming in because some of the things he saw him do. So once again, his name is Perfect 10, spelled P-U-R, like purr like a cat, because that's exactly what the gentleman is, a cat on his feet. Perfect 10, Lince Dorado will be coming in, along with the King of Florida, Francisco Siatsu. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. He also had a WWE development deal at one time. He worked for, I think it was Deep South? What was the name of the organization in Georgia? It was a WWE territory.
I know the one.
I think it was Deep South. I do believe that is correct. It's Deep South. He worked there for a while as a WWE, it's a development deal.
Right.
His work seems pretty solid. He's in very good shape. He definitely looks the part of a professional wrestler. And then finally, a kid by the name Big Deal Mike Cruz. I kind of came across him at the same time I came across Lince, because they were actually working each other in a match, and it was very, very outstanding, the things I saw them do. But I didn't want to put them together on this show, because they've done that before, and I wanted to kind of give the local guys around here, who I think can hang with both of these guys, I wanted to give them a chance to show what they can do against guys that have, Lince is in Chikara, he's been, in Japan, he's going to Puerto Rico coming up soon, he's been all over the United States, he travels, he has a following. I wanted to give a local guy a chance to go with him. Same thing with Mike Cruz, I think him and the guy got him matched up with, and we'll get into matches here in just a moment. I think they're going to have a really good match. As you said, I have WWE talent, former WWE talent, Eugene coming on, he's a former WWE tag team champion. He's very entertaining. Along with him, for some of the older crowd who's been around, and this goes for me, and I'm not that old, but we always called it Channel 4 wrestling around here.
I'm old.
It's Continental Championship Wrestling was the foundation, kind of what was here before WWE ever came in, or WCW came in, or TNA.
And it's still better than any of the bullshit the WWE puts in.
And we got Tom Pritchard coming in.
Dr. Tom.
Dr. Tom Pritchard. He is a former head trainer for the WWE. I said he's a Continental Championship Wrestling star, and of course we can never have a show without having the legendary WWE Hall of Famer Bullet Bob Armstrong, who was a very big star in Continental Wrestling. He was the man in Continental Wrestling, you could say. So that kind of is going to bring in that kind of crowd this time, I think. For the first time ever, I had him booked one time before, but he unfortunately his schedule got in the way of work and could not get away. I have former WWE, once again, he's a former WWE development talent, Paul Jourdain, coming in.
Right.
I know he is trying to work his butt off right now to get back, trying to get another deal. He told me that himself. So that there's, we're looking at 6 guys right there that have been in TNA, or Chikara, or have WWE talent, a Ring of Honor. So I've got a lot of talent coming here, along with the local guys.
Absolutely.
But that kind of sums up the card. I think we're going to go, in just a few moments, we'll go over the card and kind of tell people what they're looking forward to. But you have anything you want to add to this?
And it's funny that you say that and you talk about Paul Jourdain. Calvin and I, when I finally convinced him to road trip down to Tampa, we made a pop into, what was it?
FCW at the time.
FCW at the time, and Paul Jourdain was wrestling under the name Devin Allen. He was in an 8-man tag with Low Key and all this. And I'm yelling from the back there, "It's Coach Jourdain," from his CSW days.
Right.
And he gave me this evil look, and the dude has talent, physique,
He's come a long way.
Yes.
I remember when he was Coach Jourdain.
Yeah.
Paul, I love you, but you was horrible.
Yeah, that whistle was.
Yes. But he's definitely, he moved up north, got trained by Steve Carino. I think he was in just some training with Steve Carino, and had a tryout with the WWE. Made it. Was there for about a year.
Right.
And they don't hold on to you for about a year. That's about all they hold on to.
I hear you.
They send you shipping and. And I know he told me he's going to try to get back in there now. They've changed head trainers. A former Southern Wrestling Alliance alum, Billy Gunn, is now the head trainer
the badass,
for the now it's called NXT. They've changed NXT.
Right.
And I kind of informed Paul of that information. He was very excited to hear that. So I know he's working his butt off to get back there, but we're going to at least have him on this show before he makes it back to the WWE. So.
Absolutely. And he's a guy who doesn't forget where he came from. He lives in Tampa. He's down there working out. but he still comes up once a month to wrestle in the local area for another promotion. So the dude's got dedication, he's got talent, physique, build. He's going to add nothing but good quality to the card. So,
Well, you know, speaking of the card, I guess we can get into it right now.
absolutely.
First match, and just from, you know, they always say you can't judge a book by its cover, or you don't win things on paper. You know, you don't win games on paper. But just on paper, when you have Perfect 10 Lince Dorado versus one half of the Sin City Saints, the Human Highlight Reel, Scotty Rays, as the first match on the card, I'm dubbing this right now a candidate for Match of the Year.
Absolutely. There is no doubt in my mind. And Calvin and I, compared to most fans around here, have seen Lince Dorado work in Central and South Florida on several occasions. As you said, he's been in Chikara. He's been in Japan. He's a talented guy, you know. Scotty Rays, one of the most phenomenally conditioned, athletic individuals that you will see on the Gulf Coast. You know, without trying to, sound too marky, this is the match I'm looking most forward to.
You know, it's going to start the show off with that match. That's a good thing and a bad thing.
Right.
It's a good thing because the fans are going to get what they come to see: high flying action. You know, both those guys are like, cats on their feet. They always seem to land on their feet whenever they fall. But unfortunately, whoever has to follow that match has to follow that match. That's just how it is in the business. But yeah, so it's going to be Perfect 10 Lince Dorado, I can't even say the word. Chikara, TNA, Japan Superstar versus the one half of the Sin City Saints, the Human Highlight Reel, Scotty Rays. Like I said, I think this match will go down when it's all said and done. I know every year they do, I think y'all, the Front Row Fanatics, do a Match of the Year and
right.
Heel of the Year and this, Story of the Year and all that stuff. I think this is going to go down as the Match of the Year before it's all said and done. I know it's early 2013, but I promise you it's going to be hard to top.
I have no doubt in my mind because you have two very athletic, high-flying, quality wrestlers. Wrestlers, not guys that you're just going to see on the weekend playing the part, and I'm to the point in my life, I'm 50 years old, and if people don't like what I got to say, you know what? Oh well. Heath is busting his ass to put together one of the top quality shows here in Northwest Florida. He's got two guys in Lince and Scotty who've got all the athletic ability, all the wrestling skill that could deliver Match of the Year and blow anybody out of the water around here in our local area. So I'm excited. I'm really stoked for this match, and I can't wait for this SWA show. I really can't.
Well, we're going to move into the next match. The next match on the card is going to be a 6-man intergender tag match. Last year it was kind of set.
I'm not in this, am I?
No, sir. No,
okay,
sir.
Good deal.
Last year it was kind of set up, and I kind of saw how it went, and I thought this would be a good chance to, have some, and again, have women wrestlers on the card, which we very have few of around here. We have a lot of valets, but we have very few women wrestlers. So it's going to be Filthy Gorgeous, Rex Andrews, Doug Pitt, and Becky Kennedy versus the Asphalt Cowboys with Mackenzie York. That being Asphalt Cowboys being a team of Justin Overstreet and Zane Epic Stevens with Mackenzie York. So it's going to be a 6-man intergender tag match.
Interesting, and I'm glad because once again, here are some people, you read the message boards, you listen to the trolls. A lot of people give Justin Overstreet a hard time. Here's a guy who travels. He travels more than 95% of the guys in the Gulf Coast. Zane Epic Stevens, a guy who's overcome personal demons to work out in the gym, to get physically fit, travel, hone his craft. Mackenzie York, another one, that's out there traveling, working. They've been in 25 states, so they show they're serious about their craft. This is no knock on Filthy Gorgeous. Rex Andrews, a talented guy. Been to Booker T's NWA there in Houston. Doug Pitt, another guy before he got injured and put on a little weight. Phenomenal talent. Busty Becky, you know, she's been around a little bit. In my opinion, hasn't faced enough stiff competition to elevate her up to that next level, but I think this will be a very entertaining match.
You know, that's what I was going for in this match. You know, something you rarely see. You never. Well, and it's been a long time since I've seen an intergender tag match, and especially a six-man tag like this. So, you know, it's going to be. I think it's going to go down as a very entertaining match when it's all said and done. You know, so like I said, once again, it's the. You know, you said Justin and Zane have made this tag team called the Asphalt Cowboys now, and they're traveling everywhere. They've been to Milwaukee. They've been. You know,
Absolutely.
North Carolina, they've been going, and of course Rex and Doug, they you know, they're kind of reuniting this filthy gorgeous tag team.
Right.
But you know, the chemistry's there, and I wanted two tag teams that have worked together to be in a match, because you can throw two people together and have a tag match, but unless you got chemistry, you really don't know what's going to happen in the match. You know. At this time, you know, we're going to probably need to take a little break, and then we'll come back and talk about some more stuff. Okay?
Absolutely. All right, welcome once again, Gulf Coast independent wrestling fans. Here we are, Front Row Fanatics. I'm your friend and host, the Gargoyle, with the man, the myth, the legend, Heath Childs, Mr. Fantasy, booker, owner, promoter of Southern Wrestling Alliance, which promotes and runs the Gulf Coast WrestleMania, the one show of the year that you need to attend, and we're going to continue running down the card to try and get all you fans to come out and see the best show on the coast this year.
Real quick, you know, we went over the Lindsay Dorado versus Scotty Ray's match, and then we had the intergender tag match with Filthy Gorgeous and Busty Becky versus the Asphalt Cowboys and Mackenzie York.
Right.
Next on the card is going to be a three-way dance. It's going to consist of the Nelsonizer, who's kind of new to the area. He's been about a year now in the area.
Right.
Versus the Saint in Sinner's Eyes, Paul Jourdain.
Ooh, new name for it, Mr. Jourdain.
Yes, sir. Versus the King of Florida, Francisco Siatsu. That's going to be the three-way we have coming up after the intergender match.
Three beefy guys. Mr. Jourdain definitely holds the size and the weight advantage. The King, Francisco, definitely holds the experience. Nelsonizer, a young and up-and-coming talent who took a brief break for personal reasons, you know, is a young, talented individual. You know, this should be a very interesting match, but I'm definitely going to give the Duke to the King, Francisco Kiatsu, in this match. I think he's going to win.
I said, I've watched, only time I've seen Francisco work was on YouTube.
Right.
You know, he's a very solid worker. I've seen Paul work a lot. Paul's a very solid worker.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, Nelsonizer is definitely coming along. You know, what I've seen him work. I did get the opinion of one Mr. Chris Ty, you know, because Chris has worked him a couple times before he quit wrestling, and he is back now for a little while. But you know, before he retired the time before, he had worked with Nelsonizer a couple times, and he thought that he could definitely hold his own in this match. You know, I think this is another match, you know, that's going to be very good. It consists of three very good wrestlers, as you you know, that look the part. They all look the part. You know, you talk about Paul's new nickname for him. I actually contacted Paul and said, do you have some kind of nickname that you ever use? And he said that he very rarely uses it, but he'd let me use it since it is the WrestleMania of the Gulf Coast. He would let me use the Saint in Sinner's Eyes, Paul Jourdain. I said, I think this match is going to definitely be a very entertaining and very good wrestling match. You know, Paul is a lot taller than the other two.
Absolutely.
You know, and Paul's in very good shape himself. But you know, Francisco, from the film that I've seen, I've never met him in person yet.
Right.
You know, he seems like a very beefy guy himself.
He is a solid. What's the word I want to use? He's a stocky, solid fire hydrant.
He's built like an Italian.
Right.
Built like he is.
He's built like a brick shit house.
As they call him, the Guido. Is that what they call him, Guidos?
Yeah. He's tough. And Nelsonizer, before he had to take his break, was in that same category. He was physically fit, tough, young, up-and-coming talent he had to take a break on. And in my personal opinion, he's not in as good as physical shape as he used to be, but he does have the skills to hold his own with these guys. And I think it's going to be a good, grueling, physical match for the fans. You know, and I'm looking forward to some good, hardcore grappling. You know,
right.
not, you know.
And this match should definitely have that. You know, because I think Paul's a ground and pound type, and Francisco's a ground and pound type. Same goes along with Nelson. They're really high flyers.
Right.
They're more of a power. You know, no finesse in them at all. It's all power.
Absolutely,
you know?
This will definitely be a physical match. You're not going to see no top rope flying bullshit. You're going to see three guys get in there and beat the crap out of each other to get the victory, you know, on the SWA show. So, man, I'm stoked for this match.
Our fourth match is an unknown match to me. The reason being, and we'll get into this a little later, is Dr. Tom is hosting a seminar before the show.
Right.
And we've agreed. Well, he said so, and I said okay. That's how we agreed.
Well, hey, I'm not going to argue with Dr. Tom either. So
that the top two guys at the seminar that impress him the most, that aren't already booked on the show, will be booked in this match versus one-on-one with each other. So it can be a variety from Joe Gibson to Marcus Gibbs to Psycho Joe Milo, Cali Kid, T-Bird, Big Tim Haney. I mean, I have so far 25, 26, 27 people signed up for this seminar. So it could be a number of folks that end up in this match. So that's all I can tell you, because I said, that's, to have Dr. Tom pick you and then to have Dr. Tom, work with you for your match, it doesn't get any better than that.
And then to give you professional critique as a guy who was a head WWE trainer
for 7 years.
That's right. You're not going to get any better than that. Any guy, I'm telling you right now, any guy from the Gulf Coast that calls himself a professional wrestler, bring your sorry ass to Crestview, pay your money, and learn from Dr. Tom. He's been at the top of the business. It does not get any higher than the WWE trainer. He's going to conduct a seminar. He's going to work with you. And this is just not a little 20-minute seminar. I believe this is a several hour.
We'll get into that a little later. So we're going to actually, talk about it on its own, just because I think that's how important it is. But just to tell you what you said, we said 2 hours to start with. I called him back, told him the interest that we had in the seminar. He said, you know what, let's make it 3 hours. His idea, he said 3-hour seminar. For 3 hours, you get to be in the ring, in the building, with the former head WWE trainer, Dr. Tom Pritchard.
There you go. And if you call yourself a professional wrestler on the Gulf Coast, bring your ass, sign up, pay your money, and come to the seminar with Dr. Tom. Because you're not going to get any better training, critiquing, working out, or experience than the guy who's been at the top working for Vinnie Mac. You can go to any seminar you want with Joe Blow or whoever. This guy for 7 years was the top trainer of the WWE.
Well, he's trained guys like Batista. He trained guys, let me think, all the NXT guys that were out before, Wade Barrett, the kid from South Africa, I can't think of his name right now.
Drew McIntyre?
He helped train Drew McIntyre.
What's the red-headed guy?
Heath Slater.
Heath Slater.
What's the guy's name from South Africa? Got brown hair, does all the high-flying flippity stuff.
But it doesn't matter.
He's trained several.
Guys.
He helped train John Cena some.
Who? I'm sorry, I just can't say that guy's name.
He's helped train. you look at the roster now. What's on the roster? He's helped train other than guys like the Undertaker. He helped with CM Punk. You know, CM Punk had been worked before.
Right.
He helped with CM Punk. You know, when he got there, the top style that they're going to work. You know, in WWE. We're talking about a guy that has done it. Wrote a book about it.
Been there, got
and now he's got his own. Now he's got his own school in Tennessee. You know, so we'll come back to that in a little bit, though. I just want but said the fourth match is going to be a match that Dr. Tom Pritchard himself puts together. Takes the top two guys that he sees in his eyes at the seminar that bust their tail, show up and take it seriously. And he's going to put them in this match, and that'll be the fourth match of the night.
And so, if you really call yourself a professional wrestler, bring your ass to the Crestview Armory, sign up for the seminar, bust your balls, impress Dr. Tom, and if you get endorsed by Dr. Tom in a match, what more credentials can you put on a resume? That's all I've got to say.
Correct. Our next little segment is not official yet. As you know, as some of you may know, I don't know if you know or not, the Gargoyle here has challenged Rob Brown to a death match. Unfortunately, the SWA will not sanction any kind of thing that has to do with a death match. But we have spoken with Rob Brown, and he is to get back with us to let us know if he is available for that evening. But he is saying that he will take you on an arm wrestling competition. The loser will have to take 5 chops from the winner's choosing of any wrestler in the building.
I ain't scared. So, Rob Brown, you're a coward. You're an FSU jersey wearing chicken shit. Bring yourself to the SWA. I've taken chops from NWA World Champion. I've taken chops from living legend Larry Zbyszko. I am not scared. Bring it, baby. FSU sucks. The Saints sucks. Come on.
So that that's not official yet. We're waiting to hear back from Rob. He was very interested in the fact that you keep calling him out. He has to make sure he's a very busy man.
Yes,
he has to make sure his schedule is clear. But he did want me to pass the word to you. I spoke with Rob before we started shooting this video before y'all got here. He told me to tell you that if he is available, that your ass is grass and he's the lawnmower.
Woo! Well, he better bring himself an all-day supper and lunch, baby, because the Gargoyle gonna whoop that ass. And I have nothing but respect for Rob Brown. I listen to his shows when he's on the sports talk radio in the morning. I listen to his radio show at night. Love Rob Brown, man. Nothing personal. Dude's an entertaining guy. He also has a pretty good band that plays around here. But when we're talking about grappling, baby, we're talking about grappling, wrestling, not music, not sports. We're talking about wrestling. The Gargoyle is bringing you down, baby. That's all I gotta say.
If it all goes down, it will be an arm wrestling competition in the middle of the squared circle. The Gargoyle versus RLB3, Rob Brown. Just waiting for official word back from Rob.
And before we said that, he did throw you under the bus saying that how you laid down while he's undefeated as a tag team partner of
when
DX.
When you're the tag team partner of quite possibly the greatest tag team in the history of professional wrestling, the New Age Outlaws.
This is true.
You would be 1-0.
This is true.
But that's word under the bridge now. I'm retired. I say retired. I didn't make a living at this, so I can't say I was retired. But I'm no longer physically wrestling in the ring anymore. Rob's a cool guy. We've kind of had our quarrels in the past. That's all behind us now. But I said I'll let you know officially. We'll make an official announcement on the radio.
Yeah.
What you need to do, you need to listen to. It's called Hooter Sports Radio with Rob Brown from 6 to 9 every night. And listen for the official word. It's going to be the Gargoyle versus Rob Brown in an arm wrestling competition.
And I want to restore Mr. Fantasy's honor because all you did, Rob Brown, you chicken shit, was hide behind Road Dogg and Billy Gunn and roll over there and make the cover 1, 2, 3 because you didn't have the stones enough to get in the ring. Ah!
So our next match we're moving on to is another match that could possibly be a match of the year candidate. It's going to be the big deal Mike Cruz versus one of the Gulf Coast favorites, the Master of Devastation, Cameron Frost.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Calvin and myself have seen Mike Cruz on multiple occasions. The dude is an amazing talent. We all know we love Cameron Frost up here. We're all big MOD marks. This is another match which will highlight someone from the Gulf Coast getting to wrestle against a talent in Mike Cruz, who not only just wrestles in Central Florida, but he wrestles in New York. He wrestled in Evolve, which is a fairly decent sized promotion up north. So I'm stoked. This is going to be another great match, and I'm glad to see that you have brought in some fresh talent to subject the fans of the Gulf Coast too, because, you know, I'm not trying to be an ass or nothing, but you see the same guys all the time. Fresh talent, you know, you're only as good as you are against the guys that you wrestle. And when you wrestle the same guys over and over, it's like walking in your sleep. Now you're getting in some fresh, talented, hungry, athletic guys that have been somewhere, done something, you know, and they're ready to prove a point. They're ready to make you look bad in front of your hometown fans.
You know.
And I love Cameron Frost. He knows, man, he's one of my favorite guys, but he better be on his A game when he steps into the ring with Mike Cruz, because Mike Cruz is going to bring it, man, without a doubt.
I said I kind of same thing. You know, Mike and Francisco are really good buddies. From my understanding, they travel a lot together. They actually tag a lot together. And when I saw Mike work against Lindsay, I thought, you know, he works a lot like Cameron works. I thought there's two styles would go so well together in the ring that once again we may have, you know, on one card here, we have two candidates for Match of the Year.
Absolutely.
And maybe Match of the Year A and Match of the Year B, you know, before it's all said and done. Because we know Cameron can go. We know that.
No doubt.
And I've seen Mike against Lindsay, and I know Mike can go. So this, again, is a second, I'm telling you, I'm putting it on the board right now, second candidate for Match of the Year.
And Calvin and I have seen Mike Cruz wrestle in several events in Central Florida and on the East Coast of Florida, singles and as a tag team guy. The dude has talent. You know, this will be an excellent match. I'm so excited that you booked him. Man, you just don't know. You just don't know. And I know I'm just one crazy mask-wearing fool that talks smack, but this is going to be a great match. And it's going to test the skills of one of the Gulf Coast best against a guy that's been around, that not only just in Central and South Florida, but he gets up in the Northeast too. So you're bringing in guys that's putting quality matches together, man. This is why this is the Gulf Coast WrestleMania.
Our next match on the card is going to be the Continental Championship Wrestling Reunion match. We're going to have two stars from Continental in the match. You know, two former stars. They said the Continental was big in this area. People don't know how big it was.
Absolutely.
It was huge. I remember as a child, my grandparents lived in Chipley. Real quick story. We get off base here, but my grandparents lived in Chipley. We used to watch Continental Championship Wrestling at 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoons,
right.
And then we would jump in the car. It was a 45-minute drive to Dothan, and we'd go to the Dothan Farm Center up there, the Houston County Farm Center, and we had dirt floors,
yep.
And we would go and watch the live event every Saturday night. That's where I first got to meet the Armstrongs. You know, the Armstrongs are real close to me because they actually broke me into the wrestling business. You know, I consider them, you know, family, and they're very close to me. You know, being you know, Bob and Steve and Scott and Brian, and God rest his soul, Brad.
Right.
You know, so, you know, getting and then got to see Dr. Tom live back then too, you know. So to have Dr. Tom Pritchard and the legendary WWE Hall of Famer Bullet Bob Armstrong on my card together is actually a childhood dream of mine. You know, I got to see them as a child, and I get to put them together in a wrestling match here.
It doesn't get any better than that, man. Like you said, you've got a WWE Hall of Famer in Bullet Bob Armstrong.
Who never made it to the WWE. That just goes to show how good he was in the
That's
wrestling
right, that they
business.
gave him a ring. And you've got Dr. Tom, who was the head trainer there, you know. He's been around the world, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, man. This is going to be awesome.
So, Dr. Tom Pritchard with the big man, Scarface, Waylon Barley, and Dandy Jack in their corner will be taking on the legendary WWE Hall of Famer, the one, the only, Bullet Bob Armstrong, and his partner, Cali Kidd.
This is going to be an interesting match because if you look at it from a size perspective and age and experience and everything, Bullet Bob's up there in his years. You look at Cali Kidd, he's lean. He's not a big muscular guy, but he's high flying. He can grapple on the ground. He's tough as leather. He can go hardcore. He'll bleed for you, man. And then you've got the beast, Waylon Barley, you know, working with Dr. Tom, who's an evil heel as anybody can ask for. One of my favorite heels in Continental Championship Wrestling, man. This, once again, another quality match at the Gulf Coast version of WrestleMania that you can't see anywhere else.
You know, I'm really looking forward to this match. I said, you know, it really brings back a lot of childhood memories for me and my granddad and my dad. You know, my dad, he took me to a lot of those shows too. I grew up on Continental Wrestling. I said the Armstrongs, Austin Idol, you know, Dr. Tom, Jerry Stubbs. Speaking of Jerry Stubbs, I had Jerry Stubbs booked for this show.
I'm glad he's not coming.
You know, I had him booked, but again, you know, circumstances out of his control. That you know, he could not make it. He had prior engagements when he took the booking. Did not realize he had the prior engagements, and he had to back out on me. But Jerry Stubbs, you know, we're talking the Fullers, Robert and Ron,
right? Mr. Olympia, baby.
Mr. Olympia. We're talking, you know, Adrian Street, Wendell Cooley,
right?
You know, Road Dogg got his start in Continental Championship Wrestling.
Rat Patrol.
The Rat Patrol. You know, Scott Armstrong, you know, got his start in Continental. Brad got his start in Steve got his start in Continental. You know, absolutely. We're talking about guys that everybody knew who they are. And here I am as a booker, you know, get to book two guys that were in Continental and bring them in and have them, you know, and I said, I think it's going to bring in a different, you know, for this one match, it's going to bring in a different set of group of crowd this time too. You know, people that hadn't seen, you know, that grew up. I said, we all call it Channel 4 wrestling because that's what it came on, Channel 4. Right. All you had was an antenna. You went outside, you had to turn it until it came in on the TV, you know.
Got to see that Channel 4.
You know, I'm very excited about this match myself. You know, I'm sure I'll be, you know, sitting out at ringside myself watching this one go down. So, our main event of the evening will have a former WWE superstar. He's also a former WWE Tag Team Champion, Mr. Eugene. His opponent is not known at this time. I spoke with Eugene, as hard as that is to do sometimes. I spoke with Eugene. He's very excited to be coming to the Gulf Coast. He said he always loved it whenever WWE would visit here. He loved it. He is staying very busy. He is the head trainer for Ohio Valley Wrestling, which is now the feeder system for TNA. That's owned by Danny Davis, which is also a former Continental Championship Wrestling star. You know, so he's staying busy, Eugene is, but he's very excited. He did tell me he's a little worried about the mystery opponent because he hates mysteries. He said it makes him have sleepless nights. You know, but I know he'll bring his A game when it's time to come. He didn't make it in the WWE for no reason. No. You know, but his mystery opponent has yet to be announced. So, you know, that'll be another surprise for the evening for the show.
You don't make it to the WWE without any talent. So no matter what anybody says about Eugene, I myself personally don't dig the gimmick, but I don't take away from the man's talent. And he, you know, I saw him last year at a show in Enterprise or Dothan, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. Dude got in there, delivered the goods. So once again, SWA is bringing nothing but quality to the Gulf Coast. So I mean,
you know, every year we try to bring someone in. That's been my motto. I've been doing this is the 10th year, and we try to bring someone every year that has never been here. Well, I started that about 5 years ago because I had Road Dogg here, and of course he's been up and down the Gulf Coast. But Road Dogg always is he's a very good talent he understands the business. He's very good at what he does. I've had all the Armstrongs. I was the first one to bring in Marty Jannetty.
Right.
I brought him in for 2 shows. Then I went and decided I wanted to up the ante a little bit. So then I brought in Billy Gunn, along with Road Dogg.
Right.
No other independent wrestling in this area can say they've had possibly, but arguably, the greatest tag team to ever, lace a pair of boots up in the New Age Outlaws. Then last year, I brought in Brad at one time. Of course, Brad had been here before, but it had been a long time since. It had been like 10 or 11 years since Brad had been on the coast. I brought Brad in. And then last year, we brought in the Hurricane, Shane Helms. We brought him in, and he did really well. I tried to get another name. I'm not going to mention that name, but he would never call me back. But then I heard,
you want me to name them all? Name them all. No, I won't do that to you because I have too much respect.
Right, but, all in all, I think Eugene is a great talent. His gimmick works very well.
Yes, it does.
He's never been on the Gulf Coast in an independent wrestling scene, and that's what we try to do every year, is bring someone in that has not been on the Gulf Coast.
And he's always over with the fans too, so you can't argue with that.
That kind of covers the card. A few other guys that's going to be there. We have a few surprises that night. Chris Ty will be there.
Right.
The Arrogant Americans, AJ Strokes and Mike Faison will be on hand. The one, the only, the intergender icon himself, Dan Delicious, will be there.
Yeah.
You never know what Dan's going to do.
No
Dan
doubt. Love me some Dan Delicious.
Dan's his own unique person, that's for sure. He doesn't, he gets over so well with the fans that, his gimmick is great. He'll be on hand. And it could be a few other surprises. I've had people calling me every day wanting to know about, if they can be on the show. You never know what's going to happen at a Southern Wrestling Alliance event. So
this is true. This is true. And right now, you see this pile of tickets right here?
That's just half of them.
That's only half of them. But you know what? The Gargoyles buying the first 4 ringside seats for the SWA show. Why? Because the SWA kicks ass, and I want to make sure I have a ringside seat for the SWA. I have a friend of mine, Russ, who's riding a bus from Jacksonville to come see the SWA upon mine and Calvin's words. So, man.
Well, these tickets are on sale. If you're interested in buying tickets, pre-sale tickets, you can hit me up on my Twitter. It's at Heath Childs. That's at HEATHCHILDS. You can hit me up on Facebook. You can email me at SWA1823 at yahoo.com.
The Gargoyle finally found his money. I got my 4 front row seats to the SWA Gulf Coast WrestleMania. And before I go, I gotta have it. I gotta have it. Mr. Fantasy! Give it to me, Fantasy! Come on, baby! I gotta have it! I gotta... Ow! Ow! Come to the SWA Gulf Coast WrestleMania, baby! That's all I got to say. Front Row Fanatics and the Gargoyle out.